Okay, I am trying again. We are live, and hopefully the connection will stay. Um, yeah, sorry about what happened there. Well, basically the connection. I just it took a few seconds and then it was broken. Sometimes this happens. So if this does not work, I will try yet another way. Okay, let's start. Sometimes, well, I have been talking about the coming war in Europe lately, and it's not a popular thing. People don't like what I'm saying. It seems I will explain. But first of all, now everything seems to be working. Hi there, KP Heathen, Curtis, Lily, Simon, Lee, Angela, Ted, Joe Martin, Black Pigeon Pilled, and all the other wonderful people here. Derek is here, are joining. And first of all, thank you to uh, the very kind person who sent me this cup. Protect your peace. That is true. We need to protect our peace. So we will do what we usually do. I will do my little monologue, which sometimes becomes a bit of a rant, but I'll try not to get upset. Um, and then we'll just have a general conversation, a general discussion. If you want to know, uh, I don't know if you do, but I've taken today off from writing. That's why I am on here so early. I don't seem to be able to sleep more than 5 hours, which is not enough. So I'm working on that. But yeah. Okay. Let's get to it. So, recently, both here on this live streaming channel and on my main channel, which has my name simply, I have been doing videos about the coming war in Europe, because I do believe that we are going to have a war in Europe. We do have a war in Europe, but what I mean is we're going to have a war that involves most of, if not all, the European countries directly, boots on the ground, people getting killed. Now, I am not a military strategist. I don't have, as the cool kids say, intel. I don't have intel. I'm not going to pretend like I know someone in the defense department or military who knows something that other people don't know and who just happen to be very eager to share that secret knowledge to some random YouTuber. No, I'm not going to pretend anything like that. This is just what I think. This is just what I'm guessing, and I might be wrong. So it's so important that we all keep our eyes open and that we practice critical thinking. But I have been talking about the coming war, and I've been trying to point at the rhetoric and the propaganda coming from our governments here in Europe. It's all about how wonderful it is to join the military Now, of course, in many European countries like Norway, if the government says that, oh, we are picking you for the military, you have to go, or else they will come and get you, you know? And they can also just draft anyone up to the age of 55. So, yeah, they believe that they own you here. I'm going to do a video about something related to that on the main channel later today, actually. That video will be up on Saturday on the main channel. But when I talk about this, when I point at what's happening here, I always, first of all, lose a bunch of subscribers. Now, I don't know if that's like the Americans who think that they have this fantasy idea that Europeans can't fight. Europeans are weak and all of that. And if I say that, like I said in one video, that, it's a monster. Europe is a monster. It's a monster in the sense that it has this capacity of extreme and extended violence. History shows us that. And European governments seem to be willing to just pour people into this meat grinder that is war, into the battlefield until there are no more people. History shows us that. And it's not only, we're not talking only World War II, World War One, after that as well, and how very, very willing and eager European governments have always been to send our soldiers to fight in the wars where typically some American president, they are saying, we're bringing freedom and democracy to this or that country in the Middle East, and then our governments here in Europe are so eager to send our soldiers to join in those wars. It's always been like that. So, there is something about the mentality here in Europe that is sick, destructive, self-destructive. Because it's not only the governments who are into this. And here, I'm kind of getting back to the title of this live stream. Whenever I talk about war, whenever I say that, you know what? I don't think it's a good idea to say things like, oh, we need a just and fair peace in Ukraine. Because that means that, Russia has a different take on that, and it means that the wars will just keep going. So whenever I say that, whenever I say, war is hell, we should do everything we can to avoid the war spreading. We should do everything we can to avoid Norwegian soldiers. Now, not only Norwegians, but I'm Norwegian, but soldiers, people being sent into war. We should avoid that. I get people being upset. I get people writing that I shouldn't be Norwegian. I shouldn't be here. I should leave. I'm getting the sense that people think that I'm a traitor. And I always see a lot of these comments where people say that young people should be in the military. It will teach boys to become men and all of that nonsense. And this is a conditioning of the population that has been going on for probably centuries, probably back to the age, pre-industrial times, feudalism. Like a system like the feudalism could only be upheld because the people in the dirt, the poor people, the serfs, they defended that system. And this is what I see now. This is what I see now. This is the same mentality And I've always heard older people, especially not so much the women, but men, older men, always used to say, "Oh, you should be in the military. Oh, if you haven't been in the military, you're not as much a man as I am because I was in the military." You know, it's always those older men who think that, "Oh, you should be in the military and suffer. It's so fun." When these young people suffer, it's we even have a stupid. Oh, always, I'll try not to say a rude word. This stupid. We have a stupid reality TV series in Norway where these celebrities they dress up and they're in this mock military camp and do mock military things, and it's all about how they can become the best version of themselves, and it's all crap. It's all naive crap. So, I mean, there are books written that have been written, movies about the realities of war, and the rhetoric here is about Ukraine. Is Chamberlain came back after having spoken with Hitler, and he said there will be peace in our time, and then Hitler's Reich, um, you know, just expanded after that. Um, and then, that's the rhetoric that, oh, we must not be naive because if we let Russia get away with occupying territories in Ukraine, they will be encouraged to try the same, in other countries. So it's so naive, and people swallow this up. Like Russia has been okay. Russia is an imperialist country or a nation. If you look at the timeline, it has always expanded into other countries, neighboring countries especially. And the list is long. It's just that people, they don't know geography and they don't know history. They're going to keep doing that. It doesn't matter what happens in Ukraine. But anyway, so the reaction, that's what I wanted to talk about here. The reaction is that these conditioned people, they are saying, whenever I say that, we should do whatever we can to avoid a war. We should try just to get a ceasefire and then a peace deal in Ukraine. It won't be fair, it won't be just, but the killing must stop. And when I say that, people protest. People say, no, 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 we don't want that. That's wrong. And that conditioning worries me. And also, I think people are being very naive about what warfare is these days. How, in many ways, it's much worse because it's well, basically robotics like drones and so on. And it's not like we can compare it to the Second World War. We just can't. So in this case, I think the American public, the American population, American people, they actually have a better take on this. They understand this much better. Maybe that's because they have many more people who have been, that are alive today, that have been involved in wars. They have come back with trauma, injuries, many in coffins. So maybe, even though America haven't had a war on their soil since the Civil War, maybe people in the USA have got a much more realistic grasp on the realities of war. So that's what I wanted to say. And yeah, I'll just turn off the heater. Getting warm. Um, it's wonderful. Spring is here. You know, we should enjoy life. We should enjoy our time here on this planet, on this globe. Do we get the flat earthers? It's like a dog whistle there. So it's just one of these. The heater. It's just one of these oil filled electric heaters. I can move it around here. So yeah, you know, one of the reasons I don't go out anymore is that I I I just I just had it, and there are so many topics now that maybe it's my age, I'm getting older. I just had it. I can't take that crap anymore. And people, now I'm not blowing my own trumpet here, maybe a little bit. I've been studying and gathering information. It's part of my job, and I've been doing that since my whole entire adult life. And most people don't. So I will say, okay, my knowledge of European history, my knowledge of these things is much greater. It's much more. It's I I crush these people. You know, whenever they start talking, I crush these people because they always get the facts wrong. Maybe that's why I'm not invited to places anymore. um, let's see here. Oh wow, Jonathan. Thank you so much for your super chat. Let's see. How should I live if I am ugly in rural solitude? I don't think anyone is ugly. You're not ugly. I don't know you, but I'm pretty sure you're not ugly. There's like this saying, anyone can be this rating from 1 to 10, where 10 is the most beautiful possible. Anyone can be a 7 or something if you just manage your diet, you exercise, and you take care of your personal hygiene and so on. Grow out your beard, grow out your hair. It always helps. If you have a big jaw, like I have, it helps if you grow out your beard. So, let's see here. What we'll do now is we'll scroll up a little bit. Yeah, it's such a luxury, I'm having such a good day already. And I took the day off from writing, and I'll go out and make a video. Very simple video. I'll just walk and talk. And yeah. Let's see here. Thank you, Jason, for appreciating my voice and perspective. Henry says, in war, nobody wins. That is true. Or if I may, I will add that big companies win. People always lose, but big companies win. The weapons industry, like Norwegian weapons industry, it's like it's, uh, the morals. There are no morals. There are no ethics. They made a lot of money because they sell weapons to, of course, Ukraine. Not sell. No, they sell weapons to the Norwegian government, and the Norwegian government give those weapons to Ukraine, and also to Israel, which is like sick, and not directly, but it goes through the American. The Norwegian company has an American factory, or something like that, and that factory makes the weapons and the weapons parts that goes to Israel, and those weapons are used to kill the people in Gaza. And at the same time, of course, Norwegian politicians are saying it's horrible what happens in Gaza. Alcoa Cargo from Tasmania. Did you know I had a relative who was sent to Tasmania as a convict, and he worked there for 15 years, like a long, long time ago. One out of only 2 Norwegians to be sent by the British to Tasmania, / Australia as convicts. Let's see. Horror Business says it barely snowed in Norway this year. Well, yeah, it's I like that. I like that. I like that it's like less snow, I must admit. Lily says, I volunteered for Patriot Guard. I showed up for every local military funeral, listened to the young widows sobbing at the graveside, traumatized families. Meanwhile, nothing in the news. Yeah. Yeah. Derek says US military that came back from Vietnam had a lot of mental issues, unfortunately. So we take the hell of war seriously. Yeah. Hotep says, when you know history, you always win. That is true. I'll just scroll down a little bit here. So, yeah, and also Hotep concerning skiing. My neck doesn't like the cold weather anymore, and it's just how it is. So now, this winter has been very difficult for me. But my kids grew up with only occasional snow because of the fact that they live in the southern part of Norway, and also it's getting warmer. I mean, come on, it is getting warmer, and so they never learned to ski, at least not to the level that I learned to ski, when I was a kid. Diego, no, I haven't heard from or seen Sturla from Viking Stories lately. I guess he's dealing with some issues right now. What's happened there? I haven't heard anything. What happened with Sturla and Viking Stories? I don't know. Please let me know. Yeah, I live in the southeastern part of Norway. So this is actually where the Vikings came from, right? Because the fjord out there, the big fjord, is called Viken. So the people came from this place, Vikings. That's one theory, at least. A defamation case. Really? Well, so the southeastern part, so the eastern part of that fjord, that's where I live. Um, let's see. Um, um, let's see here. I must scroll up a little bit. Yes, yes. Going back a little bit to my relative, Knut, I think his name was, who was sent to Tasmania. He was sent to Van Diemen's Land. That is right. That's correct. And a book has actually been written about his fate, what happened there, and it's an interesting story because he was an artist, like he was a painter, and he got into some financial troubles, I think, and he forged or tried to forge, what do you call it when you make money, like the government are doing. They're making money, printing money. No, he tried to print his own money, and they caught him in London, I think, and for that he was sent as a convict to Van Diemen's Land. I think he worked for 15 years there. Not everyone survived that, but he survived. And he married one of the other convicts, obviously a woman. Also, women were sent down there as convicts. And they had children. They moved to Australia and they had children. So I have relatives in Australia. Let's see. Yeah. So Mr. Osbos says my grandfather was Taurus Japanese. He fought in World War II and World War II Australia, 2nd 1st Regiment Buccaneers. He always said, "Don't trust the ones pushing for war." Yeah. Yeah. War is so pointless, and it's amazing to me that they are now pushing the rhetoric of war again, and people are swallowing it up. People seem to love it, and I think it's because it gives people a sense of community. It's a fake sense of community. Gives people a sense of purpose. Gives people a common enemy. And when you can point at someone out, I'll tell you, like, this was a British comedian. He had this sketch, isn't it? It goes like this. I'm not as funny as he is, but like, have you noticed that when you have a common enemy, you form this kind of community. So let's say you have two villages and they fight among each other, but then there's a third village and there's a football match. And you join those two first villages and they fight the other one. And then there's community, and then they don't fight anymore because they fight the third village, right? And if you have a nation, it will fight the other nation. They will compete and all of that. But if they have a common enemy, they will band together and fight that common enemy. So Europe will be united fighting Russia. So the only way to solve this, the only way to unite the world would be to have an alien invasion, because then all nations would work together, band together in community, and fight the aliens in their spaceships. you know. Mr. Osbos, thank you for that. I might not always be right, but at least I ask some questions, and I think we should all do that. I'm glad to hear that you chose what seems to, yeah, what seems to have been the right choice. Says here, Ear Hammond, no willpower in Europe to fight Ivan. Well, I hope you're right, but I fear that you are wrong. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I think also there is the case when this is a little bit like conspiracy theory or something, but I'll just say it. It seems like whenever the people in positions of power, so our politicians and the people who own them, when they are in trouble, when they see that the economy is tanking, we are in trouble, people are not buying this anymore, it seems like a war will happen. It seems like then you have a war, like full scale big war. And is that what is happening now? I don't know, but it kind of looks like that. So, when do you think it will happen? Oh, difficult to say. I wish I knew. Because then I could plan accordingly to that. It would be much more effective to plan then. I don't know. I think it will be gradual, and it will be gradual in the sense that it will be difficult to say, one day, from today on, it's a full-scale Europe versus Russia war. Mr. Osbo says 18 months. Yeah, that could be, I don't think we're talking many years, and I don't think we're talking a week. Also, it could happen very quickly. I think seasons has something to do with this as well. I know that it is much more easy to advance at the battlefield in Ukraine during the summer, and it's difficult during winter. I might be wrong, but it could, maybe they're thinking that, okay, we'll do our big push now during summer, and hope, and I don't know. Yeah, Ian says Ukraine don't have enough men to keep fighting without Europe. Yes. Because they killed them off, didn't they? So there's a few things to say about Ukraine, okay? First of all, I'll start with the thing that like Trump and so on they've been saying. He said Zelensky is a dictator because they haven't had an election. And I kind of bought that argument, but then I thought, well, they can't have an election, can they? Because they can't have an election in Ukraine, because big parts of Ukraine has been occupied, so they can't have a proper election. So I think that's wrong to say. But also, we do know that Zelensky and his regime, and I'll use that word intentionally, they don't have the support of the population anymore. And they keep pushing that lie in media, mainstream media, that Zelensky and his people, they have the support of the population. It is not true. I even heard at the news, and I've said this before, almost in the same sentence, referring to, and I can't remember the numbers now, but it's a journalist said that we have this poll here. It says that Zelensky has so and so percentage of support in the population, and it was less than 50%. And the journalist added, so clearly this means that Zelensky still has the support of the population. And I was like, what the hell? That's not what it means. If you have less than 50% of support in the population, you do not have the support of the population. And is it? I mean, I've received quite a few messages from Ukrainians, and most of them are saying that they just want the war to end, one way or the other. They just want the killing to end. That's what they are all saying. So, I mean, that should tell you something. And I don't think Ukrainians are stupid. Of course they're not. So they are seeing the facts there, and they are realizing that the occupied territories will not be taken back by military force. Well, it is possible. It is possible if if every excuse me, if Europe, all of Europe, band together, and this is the hard reality here. You are looking at an immense military power. Now, NATO without the USA is more powerful than the USA. Look at the numbers. Do look at the numbers. So if NATO, even without the USA, goes into Ukraine and they say, we will do whatever it takes to take back those occupied territories, it's probably going to happen. But the dangerous thing here is that if they do that, I fear that Russia will respond with nuclear weapons. And I think they know this, and that's why they're not doing it. But they're going to keep the killing going there. That's what it seems like. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope they will. I hope the peace talks that the Americans are hosting, or whatever we should call it, I hope that it results in that the killings just stops. But I don't know what's going on behind the scenes there, but that's what I'm hoping. I'm really, really hoping for that. And I also will say that even though not everything that Trump has said has been good, for such a process, I do see that his constant talking down of Zelensky and how he won't criticize Putin at all. I do see the strategy there. I do see that there's maybe maybe that's what he thinks. Maybe he thinks that Putin is a great guy and all of that. I don't know. Doesn't matter actually. What matters is that, seen from the Russian side, it's positive, and it should make them more willing to stop the killing, I would say. So I do not agree with the consensus among the journalists here in mainstream media that Trump loves Putin and he's unfair and all of that. I don't agree with that. It seems strategic, Again, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes there. I don't know. And I think that I will say that how he and, what's the name? or the guy with the eyeliner, the vice president. Um, how they yelled at Zelensky when he visited. It was just horrible to watch, and it was just disgusting. And I think that harmed the USA. Yeah, Vance. Yeah. I think he's despised even more than Trump here in Europe. Jonathan, thank you for the donation. AI proof careers. I don't know what you mean actually. Well, is off-grid necessary in future? Well, I think might be. At least it will give you much more independence. Gail is asking, on a lighter note, will you be taking the dogs camping this year? I will, yes. I don't film all my outdoors adventures. But yeah. Let's see here. Hi there, Carola. Yeah, well, let's scroll up. Okay, that's interesting. Bran, here in Mexico. Rumors are that cartels gave people to the front line, but low, prepare, and easily eliminated. Really, that is interesting. And by the way, about the title, I'm convinced that the war is coming. I would be willing to bet good money on that. I don't want to bet on something like that. I'm not a betting man anyway, but just to illustrate what I'm saying here, you know. Yeah. Yeah, I think concerning Trump and Vance and all of that, and the little ambush there in the White House didn't help, but it's the Greenland thing that makes them so despised. It's mostly the Greenland thing. It's the attitude, which is probably popular among the core voters in the USA, but it makes them so despised here. That and laughed at, people are just shaking their head and laughing. And I said before, when the Greenland thing happened, and it shifted so quickly, and I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like it. It shifted so quickly, and it's not hate, but it's more like people despise them here, and laughing, laughing at it, as you would laugh at someone who thinks that he's very bright but is really a stupid person. So let's see. The Golden Age of Love with Christine. Hello, my name is Christine. I say I gave birth to 3 Vikings, so I guess that makes me one too. I guess better learn a little bit about that. Well, wonderful. uh, oh yeah, the Canada thing as well. It's I think Canada is much better off not being included in the United States. Um, let's just put it that way. And also, you would never have a Republican president again if Canadian voters were included in the United States. But anyway, um, let's see. Let's see here. Yeah, Smoking Wraith says Trump is not Canada's problem. Our own government is our problem. Yeah, certainly. What, as far as I understand, it's like a very, very woke government with all that rhetoric, and I of course, I've seen and heard this Trudeau fellow, and it's like he's kind of the opposite of Trump, but equally, in my view, equally disgusting. You know, but many people over here, they seem to like him. Yeah. Okay. Um, yeah, James says, I really wish Trump would get off Canada and Greenland, ruining diplomacy and strength between allies needlessly. Yes, it is. It seems to be. It seems to be something that the Trump administration is not understanding here, and I think it's because they come from a very ethnocentric place in mentally. Um, it's it seems to be a lack of understanding of those cultures. And what we are seeing now is, especially after what's his name, the blunder guy, the defense minister or whatever is what's it called, guy from the signal guy. um, who exposed the attack plans or the military plans in a signal group chat. Defense minister, isn't he? What's his name? Hegseth, yes, Hegseth. He seems incompetent, completely incompetent. But in that information, in that group chat, also you could see him and Vance. How they expose their hatred and contempt for Europe. It's quite amazing. And I don't know, it's like, I think those two people are completely incompetent. And I think it shines through. They should be put back in their room or something, but it worries me, this contempt for Europe, actually, because yeah, well, it shouldn't be like that, and I don't think it's in America's interest to have people like that in office. Um, let's see here. Kingdoms and kobolds, it's absolutely ethnocentric when you see the statements and you hear how they're talking and so on. Ethnocentrism is when you have an inflated image of yourself in your own culture. And I'm not trying to be, I'm not saying you don't know this, but as just talking to the live stream here, you have an inflated understanding of your own culture and your own nation, and you lack understanding of other cultures and their importance. Yeah. Let's see. Sagalknag says Canada could join AOS and have a trade relation to EU. That makes more sense in this Trump regime environment. Yeah, it makes sense. And I heard it all. I heard at least trade deals and so on. It's already happening. Yeah. I know these notifications are not showing. Thank you, YouTube. What you see as incompetence is carefully planned in. I tend to disagree there. I tend to disagree. I think some of the statements from Trump are planned to have a certain reaction, but I don't think the leaked signal thing, I don't think that, no. Interesting. Norway's upcoming election thoughts. What a headache that is. So, in Norway now, we have a socialist government. It's a minority government. It was a minority coalition government, and one of those two political parties in the coalition left just recently, and the Labour Party was left as a very small minority government, and it's Labour, Now, they tax people into oblivion. And they also have an exit tax. So what you do when, especially you're my age, and you are looking at the numbers and you're seeing that, okay, if I live in this country over here, I would be paying half of those taxes, I pay about, most years recently, I've been paying about between $50,000 and $70,000 in taxes every year. Okay, between $50,000 and $70,000 per year. That's a lot of money. Okay, so I would like to leave. I would like to leave, but I can't leave because they have exit taxes. That means that they take almost half of everything you own when you leave. So, I need a conservative government to be put in place here in Norway, because what they have said that they will get rid of the exit taxes. That would give me a window to get out of this place. I love Norway, but I can't go on like this. I can't go on like this. But that was on a personal note there. But what do I think will happen? Well, actually, if you had asked me a few weeks ago, I would have said we'll probably get a conservative government because the Labour government is not popular. But lo and behold, they pulled out that card that they had hid in their sleeve, and that card is called Jens Stoltenberg. Have you heard about him? Jens Stoltenberg. Now, he is not a stupid man. I believe he is university educated in social economy, and he is also deep within the system internationally. He's a globalist as you can get. He was the head of the United Nations. No, hold on. NATO. NATO. It's earlier. What do you call it? Yeah, so he's now finance minister. I'll look up. I'll get the numbers, the titles right here. General Secretary NATO from 2014 to 2024, and before that he was the Norwegian Prime Minister a couple of times. He's a bright fellow, Now he's finance minister, and in the Norwegian population, he is seen as the potential savior of Norway. Is he a warmonger? No, I don't know. I don't know if he's like making decisions. I don't know how it works, but he's deep in, invested in that whole globalist system, and he's clever, and people can see that, and they think that so basically people are going to vote Labour. There goes my window. The window will be closed. I'll stay closed, I think we will have a Labour government. The polls show that we will have a Labour government this fall in the upcoming election. So I won't be able to get out. Let's see. You know what? I don't care, honestly, about any woke agenda. Norway is not a very woke country, by the way. But I don't care about that. I don't care about most things that these politicians talk about. I don't care. I don't care. I care about taxes. I care about the important stuff like taxes. I care about like do we care for the sick? Like the rich Norwegian nation, like they're saying that. Well, my take on this when it comes to sick people is that such a rich nation as Norway, there should be money should not be a factor at all. So, but apparently it is. Well, yes, Erna Solberg, she should go back to baking cakes, I think, but because her husband, she knew nothing about the fact that her husband was using information, secret information about governmental decisions to do insider trading in the stock market. That's illegal. But no, she didn't know anything about that. She's just married to the guy, live together. She knew nothing about that. And that lie, she's been allowed to get away with that lie. That's quite amazing. Um, which country I would like to move to? Actually, the USA, because there are opportunities in the USA. I know the language, and if we it's more secure because it has a coast on both sides, and I don't think there will be any violent conflict with Canada or Mexico. Well, apart from they should get rid of the cartels. They just should blast the hell out of those people. But anyway, I think the USA is a good place, not without big problems, big problems, of course. But I can't really think of any other country that has the same geographical advantage, and also somewhat the same culture as it's not the same culture, but I could live along the coast. Or climate, I like the climate, and also you have a lot of scenery, natural scenery, and the parks and all of that. Um, so yeah, I would like to say that I would like to live in Norway. I probably will, because they won't let me out without taking halfway everything I own. But um, yeah, I'm not big into arms and I'm ammunition. I'm more like an archery guy. Uh, yeah. So Trump was saying that he wants no income tax on yearly incomes under $150,000. That would be a game changer, like properly game changer for me. I could actually, it would mean that I would leave a lot more money for my kids when I die. So it's important, you know. Um, and I've been to America. I've been to New York. I didn't like that so much, but because it's a city. Uh, I don't like cities. And I've been to Los Angeles, and I was shocked. I'd never seen like mentally ill people out in the street shouting and so on. I've never seen that before, but I saw it there. People struggling with mental issues and drugs, obviously. Horrible, horrible. But I'd also took the car and I drove up north in California. I took a bath in the Pacific Ocean. Oh, I was like an idiot, almost was swept into the ocean there by the current, as you do. But, beautiful. I drove up north there. I saw the big trees and the big pine cones, and people were so friendly and positive, and wow, you know, I really liked that place. Um, you know, um, well, taxes in Norway. You know what? I would gladly pay the taxes I pay now if they said that, for instance, we will put all those billions upon billions that you're paying, you people, Norwegian people, into medical research. We will get rid of these diseases and so on. We will do that. That's what we that's what the money goes to. Then I would say, okay, fine. You know what? Actually, I'll work 5 more years after my retirement age or something like that, because that's important. If you can find a cure for sick kids, yeah, I'll work extra hours for that. I'll pay extra tax for that, But no, it's not like that. So, yeah. Yeah. James Wester says, I don't know much about the Norwegian government and political system, but I imagine it goes to a black hole. You know what? I'll say something here that will provoke people in Norway, if they and other people as well, I guess, but I don't care. We need someone like Elon Musk to go through the governmental spending in Norway. Yeah, I said it. We need that because I suspect that the waste is maybe not as bad as in the USA, but the waste is significant, you know? And it's like I said, take as much money, taxpayers' money, as you want to heal sick people, to find cures for sick people. Do that. Maintain the roads. Have people, have support education. I think that's as important as also higher education and the trades, so that kids know that no matter your economic background, you can get an education if you want to be a PhD in statistics or a carpenter or whatever. Yes, we will provide. We will do that. Taxpayers' money. Wonderful. Roads, police, security, like in the streets. Yes, good. But I think that yes, a black hole. Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm not saying that everything Elon Musk says and everything he does is correct and right, and I support that. But it's going through the governmental spending. I think all countries need that. Uh, wow, Lily, you're saying I have 2 redwoods in front of my cottage, 75 years old. Wow. Um, yeah, I think I think free college, or as we say here, university, is something lacking in USA, and I think that also USA struggles with anti-intellectualism. That's a shame. It doesn't help the nation. But also, if you look at the USA, now I don't have the numbers, but it seems like a lot of, if not most, of the innovation is happening in the USA. I might be wrong, but it looks like that. When it comes to Elon Musk, I think people are giving him a hard time, and it's not fair. He is autistic, and I can relate to that. And I think he gets carried away a lot when he's talking. And he, it's, it's, I think it's, that he's a Nazi and all that. It's like, no, he's obviously not. He's obviously not. It's just, okay, you can criticize the guy, okay? And you can disagree. That's fair. but he did this hand movement, and it really, really looks like a Nazi salute, you know. And maybe that's what he was trying to do at the moment, but his autism will make him do things like that occasionally. He gets carried away. Tony, well, he's rich, but he is actually autistic. He is an act he's an actual autistic, you know? Um, and the thing with people with autism is that a mild degree of autism, as you used to call it, people used to call it Asperger's. That's a mild degree, high functioning, and so on. People learn to mask it, and they call it masking autism, or high masking, something like that. Occasionally, that mask will crack, you know. Yeah, I mean, we don't need to discuss if Elon Musk is autistic. He actually is. So, you know, um, so, and he's also rich, and it's not necessary to like the guy. And I think that people are giving him a very hard time. I think he's one of the most important people on the planet right now, simply because of his mindset. I'm not a His mindset is he 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 gets the right people involved, and he gets makes things happen. So I believe he's going to contribute to humanity more than almost anyone else alive right now. That's my prediction. Um, and you know what about people who have done important and wonderful things for humanity? Also, very often they have some very negative personal traits. You know, you don't have to like him. You know, some of the most brilliant people out there also have had, you know, they were alcoholics, or constantly womanizing, or, you know, we should not discredit Elon Musk and the things that he can make happen. I think I will stand by that statement. Um, and I'm, again, that I would be willing to bet good money on things like, I think his people will come up with cures for horrible diseases, and there are innovations in the future. I mean, he's quite young, he's my age, that we can't even imagine right now. And you know what I hate? I hate when people, and I've been following these left-leaning people on YouTube. It's a pain sometimes, but and now they're starting to say Elon Musk is stupid. He's so stupid, and it's like, no, listen, he is not stupid. And I have a high IQ. I know, but not like I'm not a genius, you know. Um, but he has a very high IQ, um, and you can kind of tell. I've been a little bit involved because of my son when he was younger in the Mensa organization. That's for people with very high IQ. Both my kids probably have a very high IQ, and I was in meeting with those people a little bit, and they kind of act like Elon Musk, all of them. so so it's a little bit like that personality as well, you know. He seems like I would guess his intelligence is IQ score would be, I think, between 130 and maybe up to 150. And when you're there, you are not stupid. So, no. No. Well, Neuralink is probably going to, I mean, it's one of the most important things that they are working on now. In the future, they will probably be able to make paralyzed people walk again. I mean, come on. That's Neuralink. And I see that people think that they will have chips in everyone's brains and so on. And I don't think there are certainly people out there who would like to have that kind of control over the population, but I don't think Elon Musk is that guy. I think that technology, if it's kept within under his control, will not be used like that. That I don't think so. And I think Neuralink is important. And there's another thing. Here's a uncomfortable truth. Okay, did they make a paralyzed man walk? Both hole. Did they do that already? Wow. Now I guess okay. So okay. Here's another thing. I see a lot of hate for Elon Musk here. Okay. When you have an IQ like that, and let's see, Sharp Canine says Elon's IQ is 140 plus. That's my guess. Yeah, could be. When you have an IQ, very, very high IQ, what seems to come with that is that you, first of all, you are always having problems communicating with people. Also, very often, your words can't keep up with your thoughts. This is a common thing among people with a very high IQ. Also, you seem, with what comes with it, seems to be you're kind of outside of the box when it comes to social interaction altogether. You're just outside of the box. So let's not pretend that those of us who have a more normal IQ, let's not pretend that we understand what's going on in Elon Musk's head. I don't think we do, you know. Putin's IQ estimate, it's difficult. I don't, when you can't really, but it's interesting. He's probably quite intelligent. You can kind of, but not brilliant, and yeah, people. What we do know, I think, I've read so much about IQ and intelligence. I think I read so much about it when my kids were small, to try to understand more, and it's very interesting. People who have, I read that typically, like people like Trump, this is not a popular opinion either. But if you have that kind of work and you continue doing that, and you have a higher IQ than average. So now Trump is old now, so his IQ is not high because it is reduced with age. And Putin, how many languages does he speak? I know he speaks English and German. I don't know. I would guess Putin is like 120, 110, 120, maybe more, but within the normal range, um, I guess. Um, and let's see here. Yeah, IQ is not everything. Of course not. There is also the so-called emotional intelligence, which isn't really intelligence, but let's see. Lots of comments here. Orochi Fox, yes, we need the firm security of our human rights. Like Neuralink, imagine how that could be used in a to to manipulate soldiers and what have you. Yeah. Um, Incest, having having a high IQ make you the weird one in the corner. Let's see. Yeah, Kingdoms of Kobolds, Einstein. Yes, he was 160. Yeah, I heard that as well. Thomas is asking, do the Norwegian people learn German in school? Well, we can choose here, actually. Normally, it depends a little bit on which teachers are available in your school. We start learning English at a very young age. And then we have our second language. No, that our third, but it's our second foreign language, which will mostly you can choose between French and German. Sometimes also Spanish. Now I chose French, and then I had Spanish as well. So I, of course, English, French, and Spanish. Now, also privately, I taught myself through a course, like an actual course. I went to a place and I learned German. And like an idiot, I never used it. So I forgot almost all my Spanish, all my French, all my German. Yeah. Which is, I mean, I can't believe it, but yeah. Yeah. Again, thank you for the cup. Protect your peace. I can't believe I didn't use that. My kids much more intelligent than I am, and they like my son. He reads French books. He has French in school. I should have done that. So, but I would like to. Yeah, in we also, when I went to the yeah, we have a different school system here, but the last 3 years before university, I went to the school there. They offered Russian and Latin, actually, but I considered Russian, but everyone said it's very difficult, so I didn't. I had Spanish instead, but I almost chose Russian, which I probably would have forgotten all about as well. But yeah. Hotep says, you start in either middle or high school, but they never emphasize you actually learning the language. Oh, okay. I'm one of the few that actually learned. Great. But yeah, you need to use the language. So Ian says Russian is one of the hardest languages to learn. Yeah, that's what they said, because it's not it's if you look at the tree of languages, you have the Russian. It's nothing similar, and they have different letters and all that. You know. Yeah, Lily says another language needs to be started as a toddler, too late by middle school. I know that they are starting English so early because it's the kids. They kind of are sponges with. They learn language very easily. You can put two toddlers together if they are. Um, if they have different languages, and they will kind of find a way to communicate, and it's amazing. It's this brain plasticity, I think. But recent research has showed us that our brains are stay. The brain plasticity is a thing throughout our lives, so you don't lose that. It's easier when you're small, when you're a kid, but if you're like my age, you can still learn new things, and change your thinking, and your attitude, because of your brain plasticity. Bothol says Europeans speak many languages. My dad speaks 7. My mom spoke 4. Yeah. Yeah, Europeans do speak many languages. Yeah, I would like to pick up on these languages. German, especially German. Thank you, John, for saying that. One other thing with language is that when you learn a language, we talked about ethnocentricity here. When you learn a language, you kind of also get a better understanding of the culture. You know. Cherokee Twilight says many Native Americans spoke many languages, as well as sign language. Sign language as well. Yeah, I would actually like to learn sign, like deaf and hearing impaired people use sign language. That would be interesting. And Frisian, yes, that would be interesting as well. Learning a second language expands your understanding of the world. And another language I would like to learn Arabic, actually. That would be interesting. Um, but I'm probably not going to get there. That's like not on top of the list, but it would be interesting. Let's see. Yeah, Arabic is not the prettiest language. It's not. I agree. But yeah, the script is beautiful. It is, and it kind of, I'm interested in all cultures, and it would be interesting. So, which other one was there? Yeah. Now, yeah, I'm going to Spain for a launch of the Spanish edition of my books in May. Might pick up on some Spanish phrases there. uh, before I go. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, linguistics, Viking graphics. Your son he wants to take linguistics at university. Yeah, that is interesting. Oh, yeah, Japanese. Yes, that would be interesting. Learning Japanese. Um, and Carola says Plattdeutsch. Yeah. um, we can talk about this all day long. There are so many interesting languages. Persian, you know, um, yeah. Um, when this says America is learning different cultures, one culture's restaurants at a time. um, yes. Yeah, I've heard about the code talkers, actually. Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah, in school we actually were offered to learn Japanese in those last 3 years before university. So, well, it was good to have you here, Sugel Knug. Yeah, this is a great community, absolutely. Learning to speak Japanese is pretty easy, says Hotep. Really? I thought it was really difficult. Um, yeah. So, let's see. Yeah. Okay. Now, I want to thank you all for joining here. Interesting discussion we had here, as always. Wonderful. Jake in Japan says, I can speak Japanese fluently, but use Google Translate for kanji characters that I can't read. I don't even know what kanji characters is. Sorry. Yeah. That's how little I know about Japanese or Japanese culture. Okay. Have a wonderful evening or morning, and we will talk soon.